turn up Unmedicated. There he is, Steve.
Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be all about JJ's birth story. He is currently 3 weeks old right now, and he definitely came sooner than we expected. So it has been a while since I have had a chance to film, so we will see how this goes. I've got my notes here because it was, you know, obviously 3 weeks ago, but still hopefully fresh enough on my mind, but just in case, I just don't want to forget anything. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. So his birth story starts out at about 7:30 in the morning on September 15th. And at that time I woke up to use the bathroom, and when I came back and laid down, I felt this weird sensation kind of in my low pelvic area that kind of felt like bubbles popping, but or like bubbles trying to escape, but it was not anything I'd ever felt quite like that before. It was just kind of odd, and but like not like so different that I was like, oh my gosh, that was definitely my water breaking. But I sort of had like a suspicion because it was just different enough. But I didn't really think a whole lot of it just yet. And then I coughed and some liquid came out, but not like a huge amount, just like a little trickle. And I was like, well, that's kind of weird, but that had kind of been happening towards the end of my pregnancy anyway, because that is common even when it's not your water, it's just other liquids. So again, still didn't think too much of it, but I was like, well, maybe I should look it up, like, you know, what it feels like when your water breaks, just in case. And when I reached for my phone, another gush came out. And so then I was like, okay, I am a little bit more suspicious now. And so I knew that Steve was up already, so I went out to the living room to tell him. I don't think I even looked up anything yet at this point because I was just starting to suspect more. And so we decided to, you know, kind of just go about our morning and see what happened. And Ivy had started to wake up, and so we were just kind of, you know, getting her, like saying hi to her and getting her ready for the morning. And I went to go put my contacts in, and while I was standing at the sink, a fairly big gush came out, and I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure this is my water. I don't think I need to question this anymore. So then we decided to contact the midwife, Sarah, same midwife that we had for Ivy's home birth towards the end. And when I say towards the end, it's because that was a home birth, was not the original plan. We were going to birth at a birth center. There's a whole story behind that. So if you haven't seen Ivy's birth story, I will link that below so you can get a better explanation for that. But so we contacted Sarah, and she basically said that since I wasn't showing any signs, like other signs that labor had started, that my choices were to either just kind of go about my day and see if things progressed on their own, or I could start doing things to help them along, you know, going on a walk or like bouncing on the yoga ball or just stuff like that. So I just decided that for the time being, we'd go about our day. She said that it's pretty common that labor starts on its own within 12 hours if your water breaks on its own. So, and we still had a few things left on our list to do because, like I said, he came earlier than we expected. I was 37 weeks, 2 days at this point. So, we reached out to Steve's parents because the plan was for them to come pick up Ivy, and one second. And then also so that they could pick up the dogs, because the dogs would have just been very chaotic. They don't stay calm when guests are over at the house. So with the midwife coming and the doula and the student midwife and all that, like, it would have been a crazy show, and I wanted to keep things as calm as possible. So Steve's dad came around 10. Before that, we also reached out to our doula, Laura, and let her know where things were at. And then once Steve's dad left with Ivy and the pups, then we just worked on finishing up the miscellaneous things that we had on our list. Nothing like huge, because all the big things we already had done. That was our goal for by 37 weeks to have like all the big things done. And then also just like starting to blow up the tub and all that stuff. And then, like, you know, making sure that all the parts to the birth kit and supplies and stuff were nearby and all that. And then I think it was at about 11, Steve went to get some coffee and pick up a heating pad for me in case I needed that during labor, because the one that I had recently stopped working. So while he was gone, oh, and I had taken a quick shower during this time too, but that was more so just because like I needed to take a shower to like wash my hair and stuff. The only thing was I had a little bit of cramping in my right upper thigh, which looking back on, I think actually was contractions. And just as an FYI, I usually like I was referring to those as waves. So if you hear me call them waves, that's what I'm referring to. So I'd reached out to my doula to see if she had any suggestions for the thigh pain, and I think like a little bit of hip pain that I was having. And she had some stretches that she suggested. So I did those, and then I guess I thought like the shower might help with some of the thigh pain. I think in the back of my mind, I was maybe thinking that they could be contractions, but since I wasn't timing them, because I didn't really know, like, because they kind of like came and went, but it didn't really seem like there was a pattern to them. So it just felt kind of weird to time. I wasn't really sure like how to go about doing that. So, but yeah, I'm pretty sure they were waves and that I was just feeling them in my leg, like my upper thigh, rather than in my abdomen or my back where it's more common to feel it. But I just kind of thought that the heat would help with that too, in the shower. So, but anyways, while Steve was gone getting coffee in the heating pad, I had started feeling better after the stretches and the shower, but I was just kind of feeling a little tired, and so I was resting on the bed, and I decided to take a quick video because I didn't get any footage leading up to the birth with Ivy, and I kind of wanted to make an attempt to have footage for leading up to for this birth, especially if this ends up likely being our last baby. So I did that, and I'll either insert that now or at the end with any of the other footage that I have. I haven't decided yet. I'm not even sure if I'm going to share this video because I look ridiculous, but this is the early stages of labor. My water has officially broken, and I'm feeling a little bit crampy. I was having some leg pain, but I did some movements and took a warm shower, and I think that helped. But so now the cramps are more in the front where I would expect them to be. So yeah, just trying to rest in between getting the last few things done, like minor things, but the kinds of things that if they don't get done before baby comes, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, just kind of waiting to see how things progress. And I didn't do any early videos last time, so I wanted to just try to see if I had the bandwidth to make any early videos during the process this time. So not really caring what I look like right now. So and yes, currently laying down on my bed because I'm having a moment of exhaustion. So that is the first update for now, and we'll see what else we get, if anything, before baby comes. And then after I took that video, I just kind of like stayed on the bed, like chilling for a few minutes and waited for Steve to get home. And then when Steve got home, we tried to just kind of chill like we had pretty much everything ready to go at that point. So we just tried to rest and relax like on the couch and the recliner. And we thought we might watch a movie just to try and like keep things as normal as possible. And, you know, as a distraction and stuff. And last time we watched Father of the Bride Part 2, so we did that again. And it wasn't long before because I had kind of started feeling a little bit crampy, but like nothing like too terrible. But then that started to ramp up a little bit. And so I got out my app, and I was noticing that I had to use my app to get through each wave, because it had like these like positive affirmations and like breathing, like counting, and the waves started to become so intense that I needed the app to get through them. So that involved a lot of like stopping, like pausing the movie. And it was feeling, you know, more like frequent. And so I was timing them as well, because the app has that feature too. So we stopped trying to watch the movie because it was just like too many interruptions. And then it wasn't long after that the app was telling me, yeah, you're in labor, like officially in labor. So I was like, okay, but am I? Because it felt like even though I had to concentrate and breathe through the waves, like I was pretty okay in between. And that just wasn't what I remember when I was in like full-blown labor with Ivy. I just remember even in between the waves, like having to, like, I was more okay, obviously, but just, I was still kind of in the zone. So I wasn't doing a whole lot of talking and stuff in between. So because I was kind of able to do that still, I was like questioning whether or not I really was. And I didn't want to alert people unnecessarily, because the labor with Ivy lasted so long. I didn't want to have like people coming and then like, you know, have this, you know, 24 plus hour experience like I did last time. Even though I know second babies usually come faster, you know, I didn't know how much faster considering how long the first one was. So I still could tell that things were getting a little bit more intense. I just didn't know if I really was in established labor. So I decided that another shower this time for the crampiness sounded nice. So I got in the shower, and it was not long after getting in the shower, like probably 5 to 10 minutes, and things really started to pick up. And so I told Steve to reach out to the midwife and to let her know. And so he told me that she said she could either come in an hour and a half, or if I needed her sooner, she could be here in as little as 15 minutes. And so I'm like, yeah, I don't think I can wait an hour and a half. Like, I don't know if, you know, he's coming that quickly, like as quickly as an hour and a half, but I definitely think that this is starting to become the real deal, and I would rather err on the side of caution. So, so she said, okay, I'm on my way. And then I had Steve also tell our doula, because she had, you know, a bit of like a longer drive even than the midwife. So while I was in the shower, then things really started to pick up. And those are some of the most intense waves I have ever felt. And I honestly, like, looking back on it, I think I was in transition while I was in the shower, because I started to have thoughts about, can I really do this? Which I know are common thoughts to have when you're in transition. And like the hot water was feeling really good, but it was still like I was definitely having to use all my tools to stay calm and, you know, focused. And I had Steve bring me the comb that I had bought, because after I had Ivy, I discovered that there's this like comb trick where you hold it, you hold the comb in the palm of your hand and push the bristles, like the teeth of the comb, into the palm of your hand, and the pain from that is supposed to distract you from what you're feeling from the waves, or at least it's supposed to kind of reach your brain faster or something. I'm sure that there's more about it. It's been a while since I've read about it, but when I learned about it, I made a note of it, a mental note, and wanted to try it the next time I had a baby. So I had him do that, and I could not even squeeze the comb. I was feeling so fatigued from how hard my body was working that I didn't have the strength to actually squeeze the comb. So that just wasn't even a possibility. Yeah, so that didn't work. And so when I got in the shower, it was about like 12:40, I think. And I think Sarah got there, I think around like 1:15, and I had kind of been like on and off. Like I stayed in the shower, but like I didn't have like the water running the whole time, because I didn't want to, like, it was too much to keep the water running for that long. So I stayed in the shower though, to, you know, obviously like be near it and just keep using it when I needed to. But by the time she arrived, I was having to moan through the waves, and I was feeling just so exhausted, and even starting to get kind of shaky from how exhausted I was. And so when she arrived, I told her that like I was pretty sure, you know, that things were progressing pretty quickly and that I really wanted the tub. So they started working on filling it up, but that meant that I had to stop using the shower, because the fastest way to fill it up was to hook the hose up to the shower. So that sucked, but I knew how much better the tub was going to work than the shower, especially since I was feeling so tired. To be able to sit, I just knew would feel like such a relief. So, and I had a shower stool in there with me, and I had been sitting on it, but it just wasn't very comfortable. I was having to like try and like maneuver in it and find a way to sit, and just nothing really felt all that good. I couldn't bring myself to get out of the shower though, because we have a shower tub combo, and I'd have to step over the tub. And for whatever reason, like I was just so tired, like I mentally just could not bring myself to lift my leg over the shower and step out. I was just, oh my gosh, I was so exhausted. So I just continued to stay in the shower until I could work up the energy to get out. Sarah tried to listen for the baby with the Doppler, but he was so low that she wasn't really able to get a good listen. Luckily, I had used it my own earlier that day while Steve was gone, and I was able to find him, and his heart rate sounded just fine. So I wasn't super panicky when that happened. So eventually I was able to get out of the shower because it was just so uncomfortable. Like, I mean, it's a ceramic tub. Like, nothing is comfortable about that. There was like, I needed like the bed, which I was nervous about because laying before, like my previous labor, was really, really uncomfortable. Because it made things so much more intense, but I just had a feeling that things were maybe a little bit different this time with this labor. So I got out and made my way to the bed. I had Steve get the heating pad out onto the bed and my personal fan from my birth bag because I was feeling warm and I just needed something to cool me off. And so I was able to get the heating pad. There was a lot of maneuvering in this time frame because at first I wasn't laying on it the way I wanted to, and I wasn't going to roll over to fix things because I knew that would hurt with, you know, big belly and everything. So I had to stand up to do it. And then I had another wave and while I was standing, and so I just kind of like grabbed the heating pad and held it on my abdomen, but then I was like leaning forward over the bed because like I just didn't really know what to do with my body if I had a wave come and I was standing, like, because it was like it was so powerful that all I wanted to do was kind of like relax every muscle in my body. But if I was standing, I couldn't do that. So, but it also, like, I couldn't lay down as soon as it was happening because it was like taking all of my focus and energy and all this stuff. It's really hard to explain. But so then once it passed, I was able to lay down on the bed and hold the heating pad on my lower abdomen. And because that's where I was feeling like all of it was like really low. And by this time, the doula, Laura, had arrived as well. And she was just kind of helping support me, like helping me stay calm, you know, gentle touches like on my shoulders and my back, and, you know, just kind of encouraging me and helping me stay in like a positive mindset. So that was really helpful. And then like I also remember at one point things getting so intense that, and like me almost kind of losing control a little bit, I started to stroke the bed sheet while I was laying on it, just to like have something to like, you know, keep me calm and focused. Like I was just kind of like going like this to the bed sheet as I was moaning through a contraction because it was very intense, and I just didn't want to lose it. And so I thought like that motion and I don't like, you know, doing something like slowly would kind of calm my nerves. And then I remember after that one, Sarah came in and she told me that the tub was ready. It took longer than I would have liked because they ran out of hot water. So that sucked, not being able to get in the tub sooner. But I made it, and they helped me to, it took so much strength, but I had all the determination in the world to get into that tub. So they helped me up off the bed and out to the living room and into the tub. And when I stepped in, like, it was hard to lift my leg and get into that tub. But like I said, it was what I wanted. And I stepped in and just let my whole body collapse into the water and relaxed every muscle and just sort of like melted into the tub. And it was such an immense relief. Like, it doesn't take away everything, obviously, but it takes the edge off so well that like I am so much better able to cope with the intensity of what's happening. And it was very similar to when I got in the tub when I was in labor with Ivy. Like, just that feeling, I remembered it in that moment. It's like, oh my God, I feel like I can breathe again. And yeah, it just, like, if you like water, I highly recommend a water birth. I mean, I think some people just don't like water, so, you know, a water birth is obviously probably not the right route, but there is just something so incredibly soothing about the water and the warmth. It just sort of like envelops you and just kind of is this calming experience. So then, you know, I was still having to, you know, breathe and focus through the waves, but I was in a much better mindset, like I said, being in the water. But I was feeling kind of warm, and I thought you know, was feeling a little bit nauseous, so I did ask for the bucket. Luckily, I didn't end up needing it. I did twice with my previous birth, unfortunately, and it was just one of those things that I had mentally prepared for and had to accept, because there's just nothing that you can do about it. Not really, anyway. And there's no point in trying to fight it, because your mind is so focused on everything else. It's just like, let it happen and get it over with. But I didn't end up needing it. But they did put like Laura put some cool washcloths on my back and my forehead, just to help with the nausea and kind of like, you know, keep my my body temperature feeling good. And I took some sips of cold water, and like my Gatorade, no, it wasn't Gatorade, it was vitamin water, coconut water, and this electrolyte packet, like my little mixture that I had made for myself, that like I had started drinking earlier that day. And I was just sort of, you know, being in the moment and just like trying to relax and not really, you know, I just didn't really like have any expectations other than like, you know, okay, so now we're at this stage. And within like, so I got into the tub at 2:25, and at 2:35, so 10 minutes later, started feeling these pushing contractions. And like it was out of my control. Like my body was doing it. I felt like all of a sudden with the next contraction, it was like, oh, and I was like, okay, is my body starting to try and push this baby out already? And the next one that came, like that was like even stronger. And I was like, you know, having to out of my control, was like bearing down and like grunting. And so I'm like, yeah, okay, this is my body like pushing the baby out. Like, holy crap, we're already here. And it wasn't long before I started feeling his head, and I knew that like I could tell my body wanted to push him out. And I don't remember exactly everything that was going on around me, because I was, you know, obviously very focused on what I was doing. But I did remember Sarah getting like a mirror to check on things. And I guess she said, oh, yep, I can see the head, because Steve remembered her saying that. And I was like, what? Like, I feel like we just started. And at one point, I do remember like reaching down, and I could feel his hair floating in the water. So yeah, like I knew he was right there, but I knew that my body was not quite ready. If I had let my body push him out right then, that it was gonna hurt really bad, and that I was probably going to tear, and maybe even significantly. So I'm like, okay, we need to slow this down a little bit. I just need to breathe and kind of, you know, help this to happen just a little bit more slowly. I wasn't like forcefully resisting because, you know, that's not comfortable either. So I was just trying to really like breathe and relax and keep things going, but just at a slower rate. So I was able to do that. And because I wanted there to be a little bit more time for the like natural stretching to happen rather than, and try and help with, you know, preventing tears and stuff. So, plus also sorry about that. Got a notification that the storage was full. So anyways, yeah, I was just saying that I didn't want it to hurt that bad. But I got to a point where I was like, okay, I think I can let this happen now. And I wanted it to happen as gently as possible. So I told myself, okay, I just need to relax my muscles. And because I knew that if I were kind of tense, and like worried about how it was going to feel, that was going to make it worse. So I sort of just let my muscles relax and just kind of with the next wave let him come out. I knew it was going to sting, but I also knew that it wasn't going to last very long. And so I just sort of let it happen. And I also like had my hand by his head, and so I just sort of like gently tried to help guide it out and like help it, you know, kind of hurt less. So yes, it did sting, but it really only was for a couple of seconds and then it was over. And just like so many other births, just the head came out, but with Ivy, all of her came out at once. I don't know if it was because I was standing or what, but yeah, she came out all at once. He just came out head first. And so then I leaned back into, because I had been kind of like in a kneeling position, and so I got off my knees and like leaned back into the side of the tub and to wait for the next wave for the rest of him to come out. And I kind of thought maybe I could feel like either his ear or the cord or something. It might have been both, but either way, it for sure was the cord, I guess. Like at least one of the things that I felt was the cord. And so Sarah was able to get that unwrapped. She said later that it wasn't like an urgent situation. She just, you know, did it as a precaution because she had access to be able to do it. So yeah, so then I was a little bit nervous for what the next wave was going to feel like to push his body out, but it was fine. I, especially because like the position that I was in was just like, you know, a little bit weird, like leaning back and stuff. But yeah, he came out and Sarah helped me pull him up and put him on my chest, and he cried pretty much right away. So he was born at 2:49. So it's just so crazy that, you know, my water broke at 7:30 and I was feeling contractions around shortly before 12, and by 12:30 I was in established labor, and at 2:49 he was born. Like it was just so much faster than my first birth, and was in some ways like way more intense. I think, you know, because it happened so much faster, and also I think because my water broke, and so I was losing, you know, some amniotic fluid and therefore some of the cushioning, which I think made the contractions feel more intense. So the births, I feel like, could not have been more different, but I also feel like they were good experiences, both in their own very different ways. So I was very happy with both births. And yeah, so I didn't get a whole lot of footage, and some of it was more so just live photos that you can string together to make them into videos. So you can kind of tell like that it's not actual video footage. It's a little bit choppy, but I will insert whatever footage I do have that I feel like is worth sharing.
Sarah's right there behind you.
There he is, Steve. What's his name?
Jameson.
Perfect.
Jameson Jay, so JJ will be his name. Yeah, so little Jameson Jay, JJ as we have been calling him, was born at 2:49, and he looked smaller than Ivy, but he was actually, because she was 6 pounds 11 ounces and 18 inches, and he was 6 pounds 12 ounces 19.5 inches. So not that much bigger, but a little bit bigger. And it's funny because he definitely looked smaller than her when he came out. But yeah, he was perfectly healthy, and so I just laid in the tub with him. That was one of the things that I did actually want this time, was an actual water birth. I didn't give birth in the actual water last time, so that was really cool to be able to get that this time. So I just laid there and held him in the water for a little bit while I relaxed and tried to let it sink in, because I think we were both still just in shock that it had all happened already. We just weren't, we knew he could obviously come at 37 weeks, 2 days. It's just, we didn't think it would happen quite that soon. She was 38 weeks, 6 days. So, and then, so I did then, after, I think maybe like 5-ish minutes, get out the placenta, and Sarah showed that to me, and she kind of like held up the amniotic sac, and it was crazy. Like where it looked like it had broken would have been where I felt it too. So yeah, it was weird seeing that, but yeah, everything looked healthy with the placenta as well. And then within about 10 minutes, I decided that I wanted to move to the bed. So Steve got to hold JJ for the first time, and we all moved to the bed, and the midwife and the student midwife looked me over, and this time I didn't need the shot of Pitocin because my bleeding was normal last time I did. I'm kind of glad I didn't need it this time because I had heard how much worse the afterbirth contractions are with, you know, all subsequent pregnancies, and Pitocin can make that more intense. So I was kind of glad that I didn't need it. I had after ease and I was taking that. I'll talk more about that in my postpartum video. I did mention it in my postpartum video for my previous birth, but I do think that that supplement really helped. And yeah, I had just one minor first-degree tear that didn't require any stitches. I was feeling pretty good, you know, still a little bit tired, but a lot better now that, you know, everything had actually happened and everything went okay and all that stuff. So yeah, we just relaxed together in the bed, and the midwives and doula took care of us, brought us some snacks, and yeah, we just, you know, made the phone calls and announcements and all that, and just soaked in all the love and cuddles. And so yeah, that was that. So let's see if I can get little JJ in the frame. Here's little JJ. This was the outfit that we bought for him. That was kind of his quote-unquote coming home outfit. We didn't know how big he was going to be. It didn't come in a newborn size anyway, so it is a little bit big on him. But since we knew he was going to be a fall baby, I really liked this burnt orange color. So here he is. Say hi. Yeah, he's a little sweetie. Looks a lot like his sister. So you can definitely tell. We've done a few like side-by-side photos and from when she was a baby, and they look very similar. So yeah, he's been a good boy. We're very much in love, so very excited about being a family of 4. So far it's hectic, but it's going well, and it's not always hectic. So yeah, I think that covers everything that I wanted to say about his birth story. And if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.